Hello and welcome to my eye detailing walkthrough. This is a clip from my most recent speed paint, which is Trick or Burn, and there was some quite interesting techniques I used when detailing the eye, so I decided to upload a real-time video for you guys so you can see exactly my process. For the purposes of this walkthrough, I zoomed in the artwork so you can see me working on the eyes at a closer distance. So if any of the pop-ups seem out of place, it's because they're not inlined, because I've zoomed in. Here you can see I'm just block colouring the eye. This is obviously the first stage. I keep the pupil and the eye block colour separate. It's easier for adding the overlays and editing it later on. I also sometimes colour the pupil a dark blue as well, with a slight sort of gradient effect inside the pupil, but it depends on the colour of the eyes. This gradient overlay over the top was part of the eye's colour of the character, so I added that in. I make the flat colour of the eyes its own clipping mask, so it's separate from the main colour of the character because it's on its own. Added some detailing around the pupil. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. And sometimes I might add a dark colour rather than a light colour as well, it just depends. Okay, here I'm using the shading colour that I've used for the entire character, which is a dark red/brown. I go around it with a solid brush and paint in or draw in where I want the shading to be. I try to keep everything quite rounded, everything quite sort of pointed as well, because our eyes are curved, you see, so you've got to keep that curve going for everything you do. Shading layer mode is set to multiply at 50%. At the moment, the only layers that are on the eye is the base colour, the pupil, and the shading. Now I've made another layer over the top, block coloured it with the shading colour, and I'm using a gradient brush to make it feather and fade towards the bottom, and also set to multiply at 50%. Now I'm doing the eye highlights. Because of the light source being yellow, I went for more of a green highlight. I draw curved strokes, keeping in line with the shading I've got down. and then I change the layer mode to whatever fits the coloration best. So I just click it and highlight it and use the arrow keys to go through them all. I decided on overlay for the layer mode for the highlights in the eyes. Now I'm adding the global light source to the eye. Ordinarily you'd use a light blue for the global light on the eyes, because you'd assume that is the natural light for the scene, but in this case I used the yellow from the fire, as that's the prominent light source in the picture. Draw a big circle, obviously keeping the circle theme going because the eyes are round. And then use a feathered brush to erase under it to give the effect of light hitting the top of the eyes. The layer mode I decided on for the global light of the eyes was screen at 50%. Here I am just adjusting it so it's in line with the shading better. Here I am just adding the eye highlight dots, sticking with the yellow because again that's a prominent highlight of the picture. Uniquely, for this eye detailing, I decided to draw a reflection in the eye. Don't normally do this, it would depend on the nature of the picture, but I felt it fitting to draw a reflection of the fire in the character's eye here. then again, I decided to go through the layer modes to work out which layer mode fitted the style I wanted best, because I wanted the eye to shine through and be visible through the fire slightly, like it would be in a real reflection, and yet still appear bright at the same time. Here I'm just going around cleaning up the bottom edges for the little flame that I drew. For the little flame, I decided to have the layer mode set to screen again at 100%. And here I am just adjusting the position of the flame to make sure it adheres to the curve of the eye. Now here I am adding the shine and highlights to the tear duct of the eye. Again using the yellow highlight from the fire. Normally what I do is I draw a solid line around the edge of the tear ducts, and then I blur the inside and then erase the inside as well. And then lower the opacity down to whatever I see fit, normally about 30%. Here I'm using a feathered brush and going around the edges to lessen the intensity. And that's my eye detailing walkthrough. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!